Hello and welcome back. Today we're going to talk about one of the more common termination grounds, and that's ground N. N as in Nancy. N says the person has constructively abandoned the child who has been in the permanent or temporary managing conservatorship of the department for not less than 6 months, and 1, the department has made reasonable efforts to return the child to the parent. 2, the parent has not regularly visited or maintained significant contact with the child. And 3, the parent has demonstrated an inability to provide the child with a safe environment. So, that's a lot of words. What do they mean? Well, the reasonable efforts used to be kind of important because not all the grounds require that. Most of them didn't. Before, you didn't have to show that the department had made reasonable efforts in order to meet a termination ground. Under the new legislation, the department always has to show that they made reasonable efforts to return the child. So that's kind of part of everything now. However, at least for the in ground and arguably for all the others, offering services is generally considered a reasonable effort as long as the department offered services to the parent and worked with them to try to get them services. Again, fact intensive, so you're going to have to look at that. Look at your case and see what have they done, what haven't they done, things like that. What does regularly visited or maintained significant contact with the child mean? Well, the department will set up visitation for the parent. Is the parent making those visits? That's the simplest way. If the parent is making almost all those visits, then they're going to have a tough time proving this ground. If the parent is making, a third of the visits, I use that as an argument when I represented the department. What if they're jailed? They can't visit if they're in jail. Well, they can't, but that's why it says or maintain significant contact with the child. Has your client sent letters? Has your client asked for pictures? Sent gifts? There's usually going to be a birthday and or Christmas during a case. Has the parent sent a gift or a card for their birthday? Things like that. Something that shows that they want to maintain contact. Again, regularly visited and significant contact. Significant contact. Those are not defined terms, so that's where you get into the argument. And remember, they have the burden and they have to prove by clear and convincing evidence. The parent has demonstrated an inability to provide the child with a safe environment. So make them meet that ground. That doesn't always, a lot of times people just ignore that. Thinking that we're in a CPS case, so that ground has been met. Well, if you have the offending parent, then they've probably done something that might have demonstrated that. But then again, what have they done since then that might offset that? Now, if you have the non-offending parent, then there may not be anything. If they're incarcerated, then you've got to deal with whatever issue got them incarcerated, which may be significant or may be insignificant, just depends on the situation. Does instability show an inability to provide the child with a safe environment? Well, it certainly could. I think a lot of judges and juries would. But again, what kind of instability? How much? Is being locked up for 6 months enough? Probably not. Is being in and out of prison 5 or 6 times for drug use every time or selling drugs every time? Well, then that's going to show a lot of instability. So again, fact-specific, look at those things. This ground comes up a lot. It's one of the more common ones, so you want to become familiar with this, and I would suggest that you read up on appellate case law on this to find where they've ruled and where they haven't. And at some point, I'll have a video that goes into more detail on several of these grounds. And of course, by then the law will have changed, but we'll address that then. Thank you for watching. I will see you next time. Please be sure to hit the subscribe button. Have a great day.